Hello, class. This is Brandon Bradley, your professor, and we are talking about the ministry profile assignment, which might be a little bit of a misnomer. It's actually a series of assignments. Some of them you might be very familiar with, but I want to take some time to make sure that you have some understanding of how to do this before we just unleash and start putting it together. If you've already started, not a big deal, but there may need to be some refinement. Remember, the purpose of every assignment that I am giving you in the senior seminar is to help you get a job, is to help you move beyond central and into professional ministry. And so there is reason, market standards, ministry standards for everything that we're doing here. This isn't just busy work. This assignment has some very real implications on your future. All right, well, let's get moving. Here's the assignment taken right out of the syllabus and off of Canvas. The assignment: building upon the foundation of materials created in vocational preparation, which each of you should have taken before you went and did your internship, your field education experience. Each student will construct an effective professional ministry portfolio and profile. Under the guidance of the Graduate Placement Service Office, each student will refine their resume, cover letter, provide a professional headshot, family information, philosophy of ministry, doctrine explanation, and references. Adding to those, students will develop their co-curricular transcript, providing samples of sermons, lessons, and other ministry work. Finally, a professional online profile will be created on LinkedIn and or another platform such as Slingshot or Vanderbloemen. Okay, well, let's break that down because there's a lot going on in that explanation. So what are the different components? Well, the first one is a resume. The resume is something that, like the cover letter, you've probably already created something for vocational prep. But in vocational prep, your primary reason for doing this is for getting an internship. For the most part, the bar in getting an internship is significantly lower than getting a job, getting a ministry role. And so we want to refine, we want to further develop your resume. We also want to shift it so that the focus is not towards an internship, but towards getting the ministry position that you are seeking to get. Likewise, your cover letter should be adapted considerably into that direction. Both of these you should craft for the job you are looking for. And if there's not a particular job at this point, I want you to think about what's a job that you would like to have. Then shape your resume and cover letter as if you're writing them for that job. Address it to that company or that church and go through the process with that in mind. It'll help you zero in on what you're looking for. We'll have more on that later. I'll have some examples for you on Canvas. Next, you need a professional headshot. If you're here on campus, Anna Fincher has said that she would be happy to help with this. There could be others, but it needs to be professional. Does not need to be your whole family. It needs to be you. Some people attach this, like they put it in their resume or their cover letter. I usually just do my cover letter, but other organizations don't want it there. They want it separately, and that's fine. If you haven't already created one, we're going to help you create a family or personal information page. It used to be this would always be in your resume, but not necessarily anymore. So we want to create a page that's about you. What are your interests? Tell us about your family, where you're from, fun things about you. This might also be where you put a life verse or things of that nature, big dreams that might not have to do with ministry, but they show about your personality. And you can be creative with pictures of your family and you doing different activities. This is a good spot. This might also be a good time for me to mention. you should have these in similar formats so that when they are seen all together, it's clear that they belong together, that they are a portfolio with common themes, common colors, common formats, etc. Next up is doctrinal statements. You did this in vocational preparation. This is the list of things you believe. What are non-negotiables for you? I will say this. It is not inappropriate to make sure that you're using similar language to the place you're using. Now, don't change what you believe, but if you notice they use certain language to describe sin or certain language to describe salvation, you might cater to that organization. But again, you're not changing what you believe, just the verbiage you're using to define it. Last up, references. Now, this is an interesting shift that's happening, and it's not crucial that you do this one way or another, but more and more resumes are saying, you will provide references upon request. Now, if they ask for references up front, so when they post the job, give them references. Otherwise, this is kind of up to you, but some people prefer, and some experts are saying it's better to hold back your references. I don't necessarily know that is better, but it is a shift that's taking place. And there are pros and cons to doing it both ways. So we were going to provide a separate form of references that would be along the same lines as your resume and cover letter and everything else. All right, a few other things we need to talk about. Here's a new one, the co-curricular transcript. We've talked about it in class a little bit, but it's still kind of ambiguous. What exactly is this? Well, you have been emailed, or should have been emailed, a link to a Google form that you're going to fill out, and it just asks you to define what are the things you did in your internship, what are the things that you did in service learning opportunities, what are the skills you've learned outside of the classroom and ministry, how have you grown in your 4 years at Central. I mean, we have one example of somebody who preached at a small church through 3 of their 4 years at Central, and they listed, I preached over 150 sermons while I was at Central. I don't care who you are, 150 sermons, that's a lot of experience, and that's impressive, especially if you're going into ministry. So that is an excellent resource. We're going to want ultimately for this to take the shape similar to your resume, so it looks like that ongoing portfolio, kind of the same theme and everything. But for right now, what I'm wanting you to do is just fill out that form, that Google form, and we are going to then provide for you the information that you typed in so you can format it. This is a tool to help you create what we're looking for. Next, we're going to have a page of ministry work, so samples of sermons, lessons, and other ministry work that you may have done. It might include pictures, links to sermons and lessons. Anything you can do. So it's kind of like a curriculum vitae, if you know what I'm talking about there. You're providing evidence of your work. And the last thing is we want you to provide or to develop a professional online profile. First with LinkedIn. Now you might be saying, wait a second, why would I do LinkedIn? I'm going into ministry. There are some churches and some denominations that are using LinkedIn more and more each month. And so it's not outlandish to do that, but also it provides you a vehicle of making other connections professionally that might be worth your while. But then there are 2 others that I'd like you to think about. LinkedIn you must do, but I want you to think about Slingshot and Vanderbloemen. You just Google these 2 organizations, Slingshot and Vanderbloemen, and you'll find them. They are ministry headhunters, and they have an excellent online profile that you develop for free. And I would like to see you do this because it increases your marketability. Each of them essentially have a written interview based upon what area of ministry you're wanting to go to. If you're looking to be in a larger ministry or in a larger profile community, uh, a lot of churches are moving to hiring through Vanderbloemen and Slingshot and organizations like them. There are a bunch that are popping up right now. I'm not saying that this is better, but I am saying that I would like you to have the experience of doing this because it opens the door to market yourself more effectively, regardless of if you use them or not. It teaches you what to expect in an interview process. I have gone through the interview process with both Slingshot and Vanderbloemen. Both are very thorough. Neither are perfect, but both are extremely well organized and are looking for certain things. They are hired by churches, so churches are the ones footing the bill for this, to essentially come up with 6 to 10 finalists for a position. And the organization, Slingshot or Vanderbloemen, will evaluate all of your material that you're developing. And it's pretty much all material that you're developing for this assignment. So you'll be able to upload those pieces of information very easily. And then they basically do a match. They look for matches for you to different ministries. They don't guarantee anything. The other thing is, I think that they ask relevant theological questions that you should consider, because a lot of times churches don't do that, and it causes problems down the road. You need to consider how you're going to explain your convictions on that whole doctrine sheet. They're going to ask you questions about that, and it's going to be really good experience for you. It costs you nothing, but it has the potential to open a lot of doors for jobs. All right, resources. The first one I want to point out, I thought about requiring this book, but it's really expensive and we weren't going to use it that much. However, you can probably get a used copy cheaper than what a new one is. It's like $75 brand new, but it might be coming down in price, I hope, because it's a valuable resource. It's College to Career by Mark Griffin, and it has excellent discussions in here about things like social media, how LinkedIn got developed, the background behind Facebook, and all these other things. And why would it talk about that? Because those are really important things for you to be aware of. What you put on social media is what you are telling your future employer about yourself, because they will check it out, and if they're not, they're essentially not doing their job very well. So you need to be aware of that. So check this book out. Also has great information on how to create a resume, how to write an effective cover letter, how to market yourself, how to do the interview. It's an excellent resource. I have a copy available if you want to take a look. I don't know if we have one in the library or not. We can find out. But I am going to provide on Canvas a couple of chapters on resumes and then LinkedIn profiles for you to take a look at. So you just have a guide of best practices. And I just copy them out of the book and providing those for you. But it'll give you a taste of what to look for if you want to buy this book. Next is that link to the co-curricular Google form. And that should have been emailed to you. I'll probably email it again and also provide it in the assignment for the ministry profile. There are examples on Canvas of resumes and cover letters. They may not be great. The most up-to-date information you'll get is actually in the GPS office. And the GPS office is where I'm going to tell you to go for help. You can schedule an appointment by emailing gpsoffice@cccb.edu. We're located in the Walton Student Center, back behind the Collaboratorium and the prayer room. It's kind of on the opposite side of the coffee shop. Maggie, Grant, and I would be happy to assist you on these assignments. Now, we're not going to do them for you, but we're going to coach you, guide you in best practices of doing them, so that not just that you get a good grade, but that you're ready for the career field, that you're ready for ministry, you're ready to market yourself. Our hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 1 to 7 p.m. All right. Feel free to email me at brandonbradley@cccb.edu or the GPS office gpsoffice@cccb.edu if you have further questions. Thanks.